Hello, everyone. This is Tinu Pena. How's everyone doing this morning? All right. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 3 tips on how to start building generational wealth by partnering with your children. These tips are just basically something that I developed while looking to start my business, and I wanted to know who was going to be partners with me. So I decided, you know what? I have some individuals in my home that I can bring on board and kind of, build it from there on. So it became organic for me, but nonetheless, so if you haven't met me before, my name is Tinu Pena. I am a civil engineer, but also I'm the founder of Boundwell Foundation, which is a women empowerment foundation, and our focus is on girls 18 through 30. And I'm also the founder and CEO of Motre Co, which is a civil engineering consulting firm here in West Palm Beach. And we focus primarily on strategic planning and sustainable design in the area of land development. So before we get started, I want you to go ahead and tag someone that you think will need to know about what I'm about to discuss today. And also, if you can hit the like button, give me a heart. And if you can give me a wow to let me know that you are here with me and you can hear me loud and clear, that will be awesome. So let's get started. Now, a lot of us tend to start our businesses, thinking that we need to bring other people in that are not friends of ours. Hey, y'all, I can see the hearts. Thank you so much. Go ahead and tag a friend and bring them on board. Hey, Jasira, thanks for having me on. So back to what we were talking about. So if you decide to start your business and you are looking at what structure you should start in order to develop your business, you want to think about whether it's going to be an LLC or it's going to be incorporated, a partnership. Once you've decided on the structure, you then want to figure out who are you going to bring on board. Normally, people tend to want to partner with people outside of their family, but what I'm hoping that you guys can get from this is bringing your children on board so that they can now start to develop that business mindset. And how do you go about developing that business mindset? You basically want to start by defining for your family what is your strategic plan. Now, most people think, okay, it's a family thing. We don't need to have a strategy. We just need to jump right on in and get the business going. But with everything you do, it's important that you put it down on paper. And so the first tip is basically develop a business mindset, and then go ahead from there on, you develop your mission statement, which is key. And you also want to develop the strategy in which you are going to engage your children in understanding what the mission statement of the family is. And that's how you start to build the legacy wealth building mindset. So as you are joining us, if you have any questions, go ahead and pop your questions in. I will answer as I go along, and so that we can keep this very interactive. Like I was saying, the first tip is develop a business mindset. Once you've determined, okay, I want to do this with my children. I want to make sure that my children understand what they are doing as far as the business is concerned. Then you write your business plan. There's also another thing that you have to consider when you're putting your business strategy and you're trying to involve and partner with your children. You want to look at, how am I going to operate this business? Sometimes your child might be 5 years old, 10, 9, and you might think, oh, they're too young to be partners with you. But actually, you can make them partners. So when you list them, be it on your corporation or your LLC, you want to define what their percentage share of the business is. Once you define that, being that if they're underage, you therefore want to put in your operational agreement, which most businesses have. You want to put their their role in the business. So for me, I own an engineering consulting firm, and what I did, I basically made my children my LLC partners. And what I did, I gave them each shares, and I hold the maximum share. And the reason why I did that is in the event that I need to build equity to fund the business, I'm able to, like an IPO, sell some of my shares, and then be able to generate revenue funding for the business. But nonetheless, you want to give your children a percentage of the business, because hi Trinette, how are you? Thank you for joining. So you give your children a percentage of the business, and the whole point in doing this is that at the end of the day, even if you bring outside shareholders in, you guys still want to maintain the majority of the shares, so you still control the business. So that's the first tip. Develop the business mindset, pull your children in, and that's how you get going. So don't forget, when you're starting to develop that business mindset, you want to, make sure you write down your mission statement for your family. If you want to do a fashion designing business, you want to make sure that look at your kids' talents. You might have an artist there and encourage them to continue to do the art thing. And then if they wanted to go to fashion school, see what they can double major in or use as a minor to help complement what you're doing in your business. So when they graduate from school, even if they go off for a couple of years to work for a large firm or whatnot, they're still able to come into your business and be able to help. So when you are developing and looking to define the name of your business, it's also important to figure out what it is that your overall arching mission is for your business. Say, for instance, my company name is Motre Company LLC. We do engineering consulting. And because we do engineering consulting, most people would have expected me to add engineering to it. But what I did, I decided to keep it as generic as possible, because what that does is it makes you have the flexibility to add on services that you can either acquire through bringing other people in, or as your children graduate from college and they go into the workforce and then come back and work for you, you can actually bring in their skill set, and that's how you create your various areas of expertise, expanding your business scope. So now let's move into engaging your children early on. So what I did for myself with my kids, when I made them my business partner, I decided to go ahead. Hey, Paige, thanks for the shout out. I decided to make sure that our annual meetings are held. And I made my son the secretary, my daughter the treasurer. And by delegating these level of responsibility, it gives them a sense of ownership in the business. During summer, they intern by doing clerical work, being that is not their area of expertise. They help with administrative work in and around the office. Now that I work out of my home, we do things together. If I have to put a proposal together, they're there to help me put those proposals together to get it ready to submit. So by engaging them, you're piquing their interest in understanding what you're doing. Even if they don't go into the field, they have an understanding of it, so they can do business development for you in the event that you need them to attend an event. Excuse me, I gotta drink some water. When I talk too much, I tend to cough. Excuse me. 1 minute. All right. Back to point number 2, which is engage your children. They need to understand the mission statement. And that's why it's important that you have those conversations. Most of the time, people think that kids are too young to understand the dynamics of business. Kids nowadays are very intelligent. They are internet savvy, computer savvy. I mean, they can run circles around you. So I say the sooner you get them involved in understanding what you're trying to do with your business, the better it is for you in helping grow the business and it doesn't falter. Because one of the biggest problems that businesses have is that you start your small business, you're doing everything yourself, you're burnt out and whatnot. You bring people in that are not vested like you are. And then, things happen, you close down the business. There's nothing to pass on to your children. When you engage them early, be it, just doing just minor things in and around the business office for you, that actually helps you create a succession plan, because now they're looking at themselves as part of the business. So you're developing your strategies, you discuss it with them, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't really matter. The fact is that they're paying attention and they're listening and they're providing you input. And that's the best way to, one, not just engage your children in understanding the business, but developing your relationship with your children, because as they're growing older, they're becoming individuals of individuals themselves. And so you are helping usher them into becoming better young adults. So it's very important, as you are looking to build your generational wealth, that you pull your children, even if they're 2, just talking to them about the merits, demerits of what you're doing, engages their mindset to start to think, you know what, I am going to become a business, I'm going to become a business owner. I'm not going to wait when I grow up to start something. So you're piquing their interest very early, so that they can start to, Mom, I was doing this craft thing. I want to sell it on Etsy. That's a business they're creating. So when you get them involved early, you just don't know what they can come up with that actually can boost your business. And guess what? You guys start growing your business. But it's also key, as you're developing that business mindset, you also want to make sure it stays organic, because as things changes, you want to make sure the strategy you're putting in place is still applicable. If it's not applicable, then it is okay. It's now time for you now to regroup. And again, when you're engaging them and you're regrouping, you want to bring them to the table, make sure they understand why you're changing certain strategies, and you get buy-in. And because they're your partners, it's important that they feel like they're part of the decision-making process and you vote on it. So that pretty much gets them, fully vested in the business, and they will certainly look for you, for the business to be successful as they get older. Also keep in mind, building generational wealth does not happen with the first generation. It takes about 3 to 5 generations for you to actually see, the wealth accumulation. So understanding that you are setting the foundation is key. What happens when you set the foundation, you want to make sure the foundation is very strong. A lot of people start businesses, they don't have a business plan, the bank account is not there, they're not paying taxes. Those are things that can make your business falter. So you want to make sure your foundation is really strong. You engage your kids early on so that they can have buy-in in what you're doing and have input, because, they're moving 24/7 and getting information that we're not really, looking to, be a part of, because they're part of this whole technology world. So anyway, so you engage them early on, you get them going, and you get them to buy into the business. Things change, you revise your strategy, so then they too are part of that revision, and you guys are all making these decisions together. So as you're the first generation that you're looking to now build your legacy, the foundation is strong. The second generation has bought into the idea of this business, and they see how they can diversify your services, and they're adding to. That means the next generation is going to build upon what you've already started, because you have included them in the beginning and they understand the process. So now you have a graph that is going upwards, and that's how you basically build your legacy wealth-wise. So now the second generation is on board. So it's key now that record keeping is part of the strategy that you have, because if By the second generation, you have nothing to show, no proof, no documents, no nothing. By the time it gets to the third generation, they're not engaged. Then you start to see the family legacy falter. You might have accumulated a lot of wealth, but the kids coming in the third generation, they're going to spend all the money. So when the third generation is coming in, you want to repeat that cycle and get them into the habit of being at the table and making those decisions. And I can tell you, this is actually something that happened in my family. So my great-grandfather, he was a Nigerian chief. And unfortunately, he had like 3 or 4 wives and he had a lot of kids. So he thought he was keeping the family together by putting the inheritance together. So you had some of his kids, which my grandmother, they wanted to continue the family legacy and build on what my great-grandfather had left us. And there are others that wanted to sell off their shares. So what happened? Because of the infighting, they got rid of everything. And guess what? None of us have anything. So that's why I say it's important that you start to engage, share information about your family business with your children. Make sure they understand what's going on so they can start to advise you on how to make things better. And when you make things better, you just basically see your business growing. Now, let's go into the third tip. The third tip is basically what I've been talking about. Keeping the kids engaged, keeping the kids involved. And as you have your family expands, you want to bring in your other children, which are your grandchildren. You want to bring them in and have them to be a part of the business. Again, not all your children are going to want to be part of the business, but the one that shows interest in the business, you want to engage and keep them working with you so that you guys can keep building your legacy. The child that does not want to be a part of it initially, that is okay. Do not force the issue with that child, but start to give them little responsibilities here. Call the meeting. If they come, great. If they don't make them feel like, you know what, they're not part of it. Because at the end of the day, they can have do a 360 and want to be a part of, the legacy that you're building. So having pride in the business that you're building and getting the input from your children also helps in building up that overall sense of ownership. And when they know that they're a part of something greater than themselves, they want to keep it going. That's why the Walt Disney is there. That's why the Walmarts are there. That's why the Rockefellers are there. I mean, these families basically invested in their children by making sure that not only were they brought into the circle of doing the business, but also they were properly equipped with the tools to be able to, handle the business. So as things come up, these, little workshop comes up. If you have a teenager that's 16, 17, 18, grab them and say, hey, let's go to this business workshop and see how I need to determine what my pricing is on my product, because that's something we sometimes do. We undervalue our service. We undervalue our products. So by bringing your children into the fold and getting them involved in the business aspects of things, that's just one, education they're not getting in school that you're actually enriching their lives with. So not only will they be supporting your business in moving it forward for the next few generations to come, you are actually giving them the opportunity to learn something that they're not teaching in school. So one of the books that I started reading to help me, start to better look at, how I'm going to approach my wealth legacy. The book is called, it's by Linda Davis Taylor, and it's called The Business of Family: How to Stay Rich for Generation. Rich to you might not be the same as, rich is, to me, but wealth in itself comes in various forms. It could be, bonds, stocks, land, money in itself, equity that you have. But understanding what's important to your family is how you would define your family mission, develop your family strategy, and move forward to engage your children to be a part of building your wealth legacy. So I'm going to take any questions that you may have. I'll give you a minute or two to send me a chat. Say wow if you're still there with me. So while I wait for your questions to come in, I have a couple of questions that was sent to me. Oh, and then a quick shout out to Women on the Move. And I'm going to read out their mission statement real quick. Women on the Move is a global women's empowerment network that is dedicated to fostering a digital environment where professionals can collectively share, engage, collaborate, and connect with global-minded women in various industries with the purpose of enterprise creation, growth, and development. Women on the Move promotes social networking to help women achieve their dreams at a much faster rate with results. Women on the Move is an inclusive environment to all women from all walks of life. So please don't forget to follow Women on the Move, WOTM, on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Hey, Paige. Thank you for staying with me. So let me go to this question that I got real quick via email. So how is it that you decided to develop your wealth legacy? If I'm reading that right? Yeah. How did you decide to develop your wealth legacy? For me, I did not want this continuation of living from paycheck to paycheck to be the life of my family. So I decided that, one, I wanted to start a business, and two, I wanted to make sure that business was something that had the potential to grow and evolve into whatever we needed to be. And so I took it upon myself to start to do research, to start to read on what I needed to do to register my business and to determine which business structure was best for me. And that's when I decided to do a member LLC. So most people would think, oh, you have an engineering firm, but your kids are not engineers. So how can they be a part of the business? That's where your operational agreement is very important. Hey, Jasira. Jasira has a question. I'm going to answer that question shortly. Your operational agreement is basically the Bible for your business. It defines percent share. It defines how your succession plan, your exit plan. It defines every nook and cranny of your business. And this is aside from your business plan. Your business plan is the most organic document you should have. And that will change as situation associated with your business changes. So you want to look at your business plan every year to make sure you're meeting the targets you set. If you're not, you want to revise and regroup and make sure that you have the next plan for the next 5 years. So question from Jasira, how do you go about making them shareholders? What is the process? The beautiful thing about being in America is that you can define what you want based on the rules set. For me, I wanted to make sure that I can, when the time is right, be able to pull on shareholders. So I gave myself the highest percentage of shares. Now, I then allocated shares to my children based on if I were to sell any of my shares, would our family still be able to have majority? So say, for instance, I have a business associate. He owns 8% of my company. My children own 10% each, and everything else belongs to me. We still maintain majority. So that's basically what you want to think of when you're determining how many shares you should allocate to your children. You want to figure out in the future, if you want to, go public with your company, do you have enough shares to sell to be able to get that money in to, boost your business? And if you do sell your shares, will you still have majority? Because you definitely want to make sure your family maintains the majority. And that's what Walmart has done. Their family maintains majority at all times. So when you're thinking about, dividing up the shares, think about future expansion for your business, how to bring in revenue to keep the business going, how to bring in funding to keep the business going, and two, how does the family maintain the majority share. So the process with Florida is, so you determine which business structure. Your business structure is either incorporated, partnership, LLC. So once you decide which business structure, for instance, with an LLC, with an LLC, you basically determine who the members of the LLC is. And then in your operating agreement, you define the percentages. Hey, Paige, I see your question. So if you want more information about the process, that will be just basically what, type of business structure you have and how the Florida statute applies to that. And that's how you basically determine what the process is to make sure you're consistent with the law. So in your bylaws are basically similar to your operational agreement. Your bylaws honestly are primarily seen with nonprofit organizations. You want to use a operating agreement, and the reason why you want to stick to an operating agreement is because you have everything from formation of the business to all the way to exiting the business. Because when you're entering into a market, you also want to have an exit strategy, because you don't want to lose everything because of the business either. So you have to be very smart. So in your operating agreement, that's where you define your the percentages, the shares, whether your child can be part of the board, as in decision making. My children aren't part; they're part of the firm, but they're not part of the operation until they turn of age. So my son is now 21, and I made the age 21 for them to be able to make decisions in the building, in the business. So my son is now 21. So when we have an annual meeting, he is part of the decision making. Whereas my daughter, who just turned 18, she is a collaborator, but she is not a decision maker, but her input is valued. So that's the way I keep her engaged in the business itself. So like I was saying, you determine your business structure, and from there you determine how you're going to. Yes, the operating agreement is basically what you want to use to define the percentage allocation, how you sell your shares, how you bring on members to your businesses. For my operating agreement, we have different class of members. Class A members are family members. Class B members depends on whether they bring in capital into the business. Class C members they bring an expertise into the business, and that is in lieu of capital. So you have to see what works for your business, and that's how you define that in your operating agreement. Hey, Trinette. Okay, I see your question. Does the operational agreement apply to business insurance coverage as well? So as the name indicates, it's just how you operate your business. Any business out there, you want to make sure you have insurance to cover yourself, irregardless of whether you're bringing in revenue or not. Because at the end of the day, you do not want to lose whatever you have already accumulated in wealth. So for small businesses, business owners that I know, I highly recommend that they look at Hiscox insurance, and that is not a promotional thing. I've been with them for quite a while. Hartford is another insurance company that has very reasonable rates for small businesses. And it all depends on your industry. I have to carry professional liability because we do design. I also have to carry an endorsement for automobile, workman's comp. So there's just various things depending on your industry that you want to make sure you have. And once you start to get successful with your business, you want to get umbrella insurance. And umbrella insurance is like an extra insurance to make sure anything over and beyond what your general liability, professional liability is covering, that will cover it. So having insurance is very important, but you just also want to make sure you get insurance with an agency that's not going to take every dime you make from you. So that's why I recommended those two, Hiscox and Hartford. They're very reasonable pricing, and I've not had any issues with that. So, if you have no more questions, I just want to do a quick call to action for you guys. Do get that book. Again, it's by Linda Davis Taylor, and it's called The Business of Family: How to Stay Rich for Generations. Also, you guys, I want to make sure that you know a little bit about my organization, which is Boundwell Foundation. Like Women on the Move, we're all about encouraging women to be the best version of themselves. Our approach is a little bit different because we look at 4 pillars to make sure that we're engaging you to be the best version of yourself. We look at wealth generation. We look at education in non-traditional field. And we also look at advocacy so that you can know how policies affect you and your business. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we're healthy to enjoy the labor that we put into our businesses. So that's a little bit about my foundation. You can learn more about myself, my company, and my foundation by going to www.tinu, that's Tinu Pena, Pena.co. There you will find a link to my page. There you will find a link to my foundation. And also, I'm having a free 30-minute consultation starting in July. So you want to go ahead and go and subscribe so that the first 10 people, I will, do a one-on-one for 30 minutes, kind of go over the business model and see what they currently have and see if they're missing anything that they need to go ahead and start to close those gaps. It's important for us to be able to build our legacy, that our paperwork are in place, because we never want to make IRS come after us. And it's also important that we make sure that we are meeting industry standards in whatever we're doing. So this May 26th, Boundwell Foundation is hosting an authors showcase, and we're highlighting our local African-American authors to make sure they have a platform to share their journey, share their story, and inspire you to also become an author yourself. We have $5 off the ticket. The ticket is $25. We give you $5 off. It's from now to the 18th. So get your ticket today and use the discount code RISE. And also, before I go, do follow me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm also on Facebook. I really appreciate this platform. Thank you to Women on the Move. Just a quick shout out to the sponsor of the May 26th event, Creative Department. Thank you for supporting us women. Thank you for being an ally. Harold's Coffee Lounge, thank you for sponsoring our refreshment. I appreciate it so much. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Blessings to everyone. And I look forward to going into the insurance aspect with you guys at the next session. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful, fabulous, business-minded, growth-minded women that tune in. Look forward to seeing you guys at the next one. Ciao.